Fast networks promise relief from effort, yet that relief comes with a hidden cost to attention. Useful tasks become easier, but the mind starts expecting information in quick, fragmented bursts. That shift matters because deep reading depends on steadiness, patience, and resistance to distraction. Once those habits weaken, thought becomes more reactive, hurried, and less able to stay with complexity. The danger is not just ignorance, but losing the mental conditions that make judgment and reflection possible. Online life rewards scanning, switching, clicking, and refreshing, far more than lingering over one demanding thing. What feels like greater mental energy can actually be stimulation that keeps deeper focus from settling. The result is a mind that feels busy, informed, and connected, yet increasingly uneasy with silence and length. You will see how tools reshape brains, how pages cultivated depth, and how search culture changes memory. These tensions drive The Shallows by Nicholas Carr, so subscribe to the channel for more careful explorations of thinking tools. The central scientific idea is that the adult brain remains plastic, changing with repeated use. Circuits strengthen through rehearsal, weaken through neglect, and reorganize themselves around recurring demands. A writing machine altered Nietzsche's prose, and later experiments showed remap sensation in adult brains. Monkeys trained with tools updated their bodily maps, and damaged sensory maps could knit themselves anew. Repetition does not simply store a skill, it turns the skill into preferred neural traffic. That is why technologies matter beyond convenience, because they supply the patterns we practice every day. The hopeful side is adaptability, recovery, and new learning long after childhood supposedly fixed the mind. The darker side is habit becoming destiny when frequently rewarded pathways crowd out slower, older ones. A medium used constantly can therefore train not only what we do, but what feels natural. Once that principle is clear, the internet stops looking neutral and starts looking like mental training. Human beings have long used tools not just to extend their muscles, but also to extend their mental order. Maps taught people to compress vast spaces into abstract forms, enabling them to navigate by representation. Clocks broke time into measurable units, encouraging schedules, precision, and methodical routines. Writing preserved thought outside the head, allowing language to travel farther than memory alone. These inventions did more than store information. They trained new habits of perception and reasoning. People began to see space as structured, time as countable, and ideas as recordable objects. Once a tool becomes ordinary, its logic quietly slips into how a culture organizes experience. This is why intellectual technologies matter so much, as they help define what thinking feels like. The internet enters this lineage as a powerful general tool that compresses many older tools together. Its novelty conceals an old truth. The instrument guiding attention also guides the form of thought. The page provided a stable, quiet, and physically graspable home for long arguments, making them easier to read. Silent reading over many pages required concentration, inwardness, and patience with the linear development of ideas. Print multiplied books, widened literacy, and spread a style of thought based on continuity. Readers could follow complex syntax, hold earlier ideas in mind, and move steadily through layered arguments. This discipline deepened vocabulary, sharpened abstraction, and enhanced sensitivity to experience and nuance. It also supported science, philosophy, history, and the novel by rewarding sustained attention over quick reactions. Deep reading countered our restless, scanning instincts by training the mind to stay focused. Over time, this trained stillness became part of ordinary intellectual culture, rather than a rare specialty. When a society reads this way for centuries, its standards of intelligence evolve with the medium. The deeper issue today is not less text, but less patience for the kind of reading that pages once cultivated. The internet is not just another medium, but a system that absorbs all others, turning writing, music, video, news, and conversation into one fast stream of clickable signals. Each imported medium gets broken into searchable pieces and surrounded by prompts for further movement. Links, alerts, menus, clips, and feeds promise efficiency while constantly inviting us somewhere else. On screens, reading becomes entangled with navigation, evaluation, and the anticipation of the next reward. That extra mental work consumes resources that once supported comprehension and calm absorption. Even when online pages resemble printed ones, the bodily and cognitive experience is fundamentally different. We scroll, select, compare, and jump, rather than settle into a continuous field of meaning. As more culture adopts this form, older media begin to copy its brevity, noise, and modular design. If you care about how media habits shape your attention, subscribe to the channel for more grounded breakdowns like this. Period. Printed books resist the web because their strength lies in enclosure, sequence, and freedom from interruption. A book can patiently wait, hold our place, and preserve a single path through its material. Digital readers can mimic some conveniences of print, yet networked features bring the logic of the web. Once text includes links, search, side material, and constant connectivity, the reading contract shifts. The reader is gently nudged away from immersion and toward checking, branching, and partial consumption. The book stops being a place to dwell and becomes another platform for traffic. That shift also changes writing, as authors and publishers adapt to shorter attention and faster rewards. Forms born on phones and feeds then push prose toward brevity, immediacy, and easy scanning. What appears as an improvement in access can thus reduce the settled conditions that serious reading requires. A medium can preserve words while quietly eroding the posture of mind those words once needed. The multitasking brain may appear energetic, but much of that energy is spent on switching rather than understanding. Working memory is limited, and it quickly becomes overwhelmed when many signals require simultaneous attention. Online environments exacerbate this issue by blending reading with choices, interruptions, and background distractions. Research on hypertext reading shows that comprehension declines as the number of links and decisions increases. Frequent task switching also hinders reflection, as the mind must constantly reset its goals. Information arrives faster than it can be consolidated into stable knowledge or lasting insight. Some screen-based activities might enhance visual or spatial skills, but they can diminish deeper processing. Gains in speed do not offset the losses in contemplation, inference, criticism, and imaginative patience. A culture that values constant responsiveness might mistake fragmented alertness for true intelligence. The consequences appear later, when individuals struggle to engage with difficult material long enough to understand it. Search culture embodies a moral vision as much as a technical achievement. It values speed, measurability, optimization, and immediate retrieval over slower forms of judgment. The same efficiency logic that once reorganized factory labor now approaches mental labor. Google refines interfaces relentlessly because even small design changes can steer behavior at immense scale. In that environment, knowledge starts looking like units to sort, rank, and deliver instantly. Books, libraries, and archives are drawn toward databases whose highest virtue is findability. This approach is brilliant at locating fragments, but fragments are not the same as understanding wholes. When convenience becomes the ruling standard, anything that slows us down begins to look wasteful or obsolete. Yet many valuable thoughts emerge only through delay, ambiguity, and time spent with what resists quick use. The more thinking resembles search, the easier it becomes to confuse access with wisdom. External memory has always aided human beings, from notebooks and libraries to printed books. The difference lies in deep reading, which once pushed stored information back into the mind through reflection. Memory grows when attention holds material long enough for consolidation and association to occur. Search engines can fetch facts instantly, but these facts vanish quickly without mental dwelling. Long-term memory is not a dusty warehouse. It is the living foundation of rich thought. New ideas emerge when remembered knowledge connects across time, context, and experience inside the mind. If attention stays shallow, memory stays thin, and reasoning loses the materials it needs. That is why forgetting's not the only risk, as unformed memory weakens judgment itself. A mind trained mainly to look things up may know how to retrieve, yet struggle to transform. Knowledge requires more than access. It demands enough stillness for information to become part of us. The deepest concern is not just distraction, but the narrowing of what we consider thinking. When speed, automation, and convenience become paramount, slower human capacities start to seem expendable. Empathy, moral reflection, and subtle understanding often require time that accelerated media constantly break apart. A person cannot fully inhabit every alert, feed, and prompt without sacrificing something quieter and more human. Protecting depth thus begins by safeguarding the conditions that depth requires in daily life. Time away from constant input allows attention to settle, memory to bind, and judgment to mature. The aim is not to seek purity or total refusal, as network tools indeed expand what we can achieve. The goal is to recognize what they reward, what they weaken, and what deserves deliberate defense. Once we understand that mental habits are being trained, choosing how to read becomes choosing how to live. If protecting attention and judgment matters to you, subscribe to the channel for more ideas worth slowing down for.